In a world filled with uncertainty and chaos, the Book of Revelation stands as a cryptic beacon, shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Imagine a scroll unraveling, revealing secrets that have eluded countless seekers throughout the ages. What if the answers to life's greatest questions lie hidden within its pages? Picture this: vivid imagery of beasts, angels, and a cosmic battle unfolding right before your eyes. But what do these symbols truly mean, and how do they relate to our lives today? As we journey through this enigmatic text, think about the prophecies that have shaped history and those that still resonate today. Are we on the brink of something monumental? Could the keys to understanding our world be nestled in the verses of this ancient scripture? Stay with us as we dive deep into the layers of meaning, peeling back the facade to uncover truths that might just change your perspective forever. The clock is ticking, and each revelation may hold the power to transform fear into hope. Are you ready to unlock the mysteries that have been waiting for you? Let's embark on this extraordinary adventure together. Interpretations and perspectives of the Apocalypse. The Book of Revelation, often referred to as the Apocalypse, has captivated theologians and scholars for centuries. Various interpretations have emerged, each reflecting distinct theological perspectives. Among these, futurism posits that the events of Revelation are yet to unfold, suggesting that the text serves as a prophecy for the end times. This view often emphasizes a literal reading of the scripture, focusing on signs and events that believers anticipate will lead to the second coming of Christ. As such, futurists often look for contemporary signs that align with Revelation's vivid imagery. Conversely, preterism interprets the Apocalypse as a document that reflects the historical context of its time. Preterists argue that many of the prophecies were fulfilled in the first century, particularly concerning the fall of Jerusalem and the persecution of early Christians. This perspective highlights the immediate significance of the text for its original audience, suggesting that it was intended to offer hope and encouragement during periods of intense trial and tribulation. By understanding the context of the Roman Empire's oppression, preterists find a rich tapestry of meaning within the text that speaks to the resilience of faith. The historicist view takes a broader approach, suggesting that the events depicted in Revelation span the entire history of the Church, from its inception to the present day. Historicists interpret the symbols and events as allegories for various historical happenings, linking the text to significant moments in Christian history. This interpretation allows for a dynamic understanding of Revelation, as it can be seen as a continuous narrative that reflects the struggle between good and evil throughout time. Each generation finds its own reflections of the text in its struggles and triumphs. In addition to these three dominant perspectives, there are also elements of idealism, which focus on the spiritual truths and moral lessons inherent in the text rather than specific predictions. Idealists view the Apocalypse as a timeless commentary on the nature of good and evil, emphasizing the ultimate victory of God over chaos and sin. This approach encourages readers to seek personal and communal transformation rather than simply waiting for prophetic fulfillments. As we delve into the varied interpretations of the Apocalypse, it becomes clear that each perspective brings valuable insights. Understanding these interpretations not only enriches one's comprehension of the text, but also fosters a deeper engagement with the theological questions it raises. The Book of Revelation continues to inspire debate and reflection, proving its relevance across generations. Symbolism and apocalyptic language. The Book of Revelation is renowned for its rich and complex symbolism. Central to its narrative are figures such as the four horsemen, who represent conquest, war, famine, and death. These characters embody the various calamities that befall humanity and serve as poignant reminders of the consequences of turning away from divine guidance. Each horseman, with their distinct color and rider, evokes a powerful imagery that conveys the gravity of human sin and its repercussions in the world. Another critical symbol in Revelation is the beast, often interpreted as a representation of oppressive political powers or systems that stand against God's will. The beast's number, 666, has intrigued and puzzled readers for centuries, leading to numerous interpretations. Some see it as a specific historical figure, while others view it as a more abstract representation of evil in any form. This ambiguity allows for a wide range of applications, prompting believers to reflect on the nature of evil in their own contexts. The New Jerusalem, described as a place of peace and divine presence, contrasts sharply with the chaos represented by the beast and the tribulations of the world. This vision of a restored creation serves as a source of hope for believers, emphasizing the ultimate reconciliation between God and humanity. The vivid imagery of streets of gold and gates of pearl invites readers to envision a future where justice and peace reign, reinforcing the idea that the faithful will be rewarded for their perseverance. Moreover, the use of metaphorical language throughout the apocalypse serves to convey complex spiritual truths in a manner that transcends ordinary communication. The apocalyptic genre thrives on this imagery, challenging readers to interpret the deeper meanings behind the symbols. It encourages a reflective approach, prompting individuals to engage with their own understanding of faith, morality, and the nature of reality. As we explore the symbolism and language of Revelation, we uncover layers of meaning that invite introspection and dialogue. The text does not merely recount future events, but rather it engages readers in a spiritual journey that encourages them to confront their beliefs, fears, and hopes. The language is intentionally provocative, designed to awaken awareness and inspire action in the face of life's challenges. Prophecies and fulfillments. The prophecies contained within the Book of Revelation have sparked extensive debate regarding their fulfillment. Many believers look to historical events to draw connections to the text, suggesting that certain occurrences, such as wars, natural disasters, or political upheavals, align with the predictions made by the Apostle John. These connections often reinforce the faith of believers, providing them with a framework to understand the unfolding of God's plan in their lives and the world. However, determining what constitutes a prophetic fulfillment is a complex endeavor. Some argue that many of the events described in Revelation were fulfilled in the early years of the Church, particularly during the Roman persecutions. This view aligns with the preterist interpretation, which sees the text as a reflection of the struggles faced by early Christians rather than a blueprint for future events. This perspective invites readers to consider the immediate relevance of the prophecies, emphasizing the need for faith amidst trials. On the other hand, futurists anticipate that the ultimate fulfillments of these prophecies are yet to come, leading to a sense of urgency among believers. This anticipation is often marked by a heightened awareness of current events, as many feel compelled to discern signs that might indicate the nearing of the end times. This perspective can lead to an active engagement with the world, as believers seek to spread their message and prepare themselves and others for the events described in Revelation. The historicist interpretation of prophetic fulfillment offers a different lens, suggesting that the events of Revelation can be mapped onto significant historical milestones. This approach allows for a continuous dialogue between the text and the unfolding narrative of church history, as believers reflect on how past events resonate with the prophetic messages in Revelation. This perspective emphasizes the ongoing nature of God's revelation and the importance of learning from history. Ultimately, the study of prophecies and their fulfillments in Revelation encourages believers to remain vigilant and reflective. It invites them to consider how the text speaks to their own lives and the world around them. By examining the intricate relationships between prophecy, history, and personal experience, individuals can find meaning and purpose in their faith journey. The exploration of these themes serves as a reminder of the profound impact that the apocalypse has on both individual and collective understanding of divine providence. Relation to other scriptures. The Book of Revelation, while distinct in its apocalyptic genre, is deeply intertwined with other biblical texts, particularly those found in the Old Testament and the prophetic books. This connection is vital for understanding the full scope of its messages. For instance, many of the symbols and themes present in Revelation echo the visions of prophets like Isaiah and Ezekiel. The imagery of a new heaven and a new earth, for example, harks back to Isaiah 65:17, where God promises to create new things for his people. This continuity reinforces the notion that Revelation is not just a standalone text, but part of a larger divine narrative. Additionally, the prophetic literature of the Old Testament often serves as a backdrop for the events described in Revelation. The themes of judgment, restoration, and hope found in these earlier texts can be seen mirrored in the visions of John. By examining these parallels, readers can gain a deeper appreciation for the way Revelation fulfills and expands upon the promises made throughout the Scriptures. This interconnectedness emphasizes the unity of God's message and his plan for humanity, culminating in the eschatological visions of the end times. Moreover, the New Testament itself contains numerous references to the themes found in Revelation. The Gospels, particularly the teachings of Jesus, often allude to the coming kingdom and the final judgment. For instance, the parables of the wheat and the tares, or the sheep and the goats, reflect the ultimate separation of the righteous from the wicked, a central theme in Revelation. This reinforces the idea that the expectations set forth by Jesus align with the visions revealed to John, creating a cohesive narrative about the end of days. In discussing the relationship between Revelation and other scriptures, it's also essential to consider the role of the early church. The apostolic writings not only affirm the prophetic nature of Revelation, but also provide context for its interpretation. Early Christians faced persecution and tribulation, and the messages of hope and perseverance found in Revelation were particularly relevant to them. By placing Revelation within this historical context, readers can better understand its significance for believers both in the first century and today. Ultimately, the connection between Revelation and other biblical texts enriches our understanding of its themes and messages. By examining these relationships, we can appreciate how the entire Bible weaves together a complex but coherent tapestry of God's promises, judgment, and ultimate restoration for humanity. The role of the church and believers. In the face of tribulation and uncertainty, the Book of Revelation offers a profound message about the role of the church and individual believers. The text underscores the importance of perseverance in faith during challenging times. Believers are encouraged to stand firm even when faced with persecution or hardship. This theme of perseverance echoes throughout the letters to the 7 churches, where John writes to encourage and admonish them to remain steadfast in their faith. Moreover, the church is depicted as a community of believers called to bear witness to the truth of the gospel. In times of crisis, this collective identity becomes even more crucial. The teachings of Revelation remind the church that it has a vital role in proclaiming hope and love, even amidst despair. This message is particularly relevant in today's world, where many face trials that challenge their faith and convictions. The church is called not only to endure, but also to actively engage in acts of compassion and justice, reflecting the character of Christ. Another important aspect of Revelation is its emphasis on the eventual triumph of the church over evil. The imagery of the Lamb who was slain, who ultimately reigns victorious, serves as a powerful reminder to believers of their future hope. This victory is not just a distant promise, but is meant to inspire confidence and courage in the present. It challenges believers to live out their faith boldly, knowing that they are part of a divine narrative that culminates in redemption and restoration. The concept of accountability also emerges in Revelation as the church is reminded of its responsibilities in light of the prophetic messages. Believers are called to examine their lives and align their actions with the teachings of Christ. This self-reflection is essential for maintaining spiritual integrity and authenticity within the community of faith. The warnings given to the churches serve not only as a caution against complacency, but also as an invitation to grow deeper in relationship with God. Ultimately, the role of the church and believers in light of Revelation is one of active participation in God's redemptive plan. By embodying the principles of faith, love, and perseverance, the church can navigate the challenges of the present while holding fast to the hope of the future. This dynamic encourages believers to be both witnesses and participants in the unfolding story of God's kingdom, even as they await its fulfillment. Impact on culture and society. The Book of Revelation, often referred to simply as the Apocalypse, has left an indelible mark on various aspects of culture and society throughout history. Its vivid imagery and themes of judgment, redemption, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil have inspired countless artists, writers, and filmmakers. From paintings to novels, the symbols and narratives within Revelation have been repurposed to explore contemporary issues, fears, and hopes. The four horsemen, the beast, and the New Jerusalem are not just biblical references. They have become cultural touchstones that resonate with audiences across generations. In literature, the influence of Revelation can be seen in various genres, particularly in dystopian and speculative fiction. Authors often draw on apocalyptic themes to construct narratives that grapple with societal collapse, moral ambiguity, and the human condition. Works like Cormac McCarthy's The Road and Margaret Atwood's Oryx and Crake reflect a world teetering on the brink of destruction, reminiscent of the catastrophic events described in Revelation. These literary interpretations serve to engage readers with profound questions about survival, faith, and the nature of humanity in the face of adversity. Visual art, too, has been significantly shaped by the imagery of the apocalypse. Artists from the Middle Ages to contemporary times have created works that depict the dramatic scenes described in Revelation, the Last Judgment scenes in medieval cathedrals, and the surreal interpretations by modern artists showcase the enduring fascination with the end times. This artistic engagement not only reflects the theological themes of Revelation, but also invites viewers to contemplate their own beliefs about morality, justice, and the afterlife. The influence of Revelation extends to cinema, where apocalyptic narratives have become a popular genre. Films like Children of Men, The Road, and The Book of Eli draw heavily on themes from the apocalypse, exploring the human struggle amid chaos and despair. These films often depict a world where societal structures have collapsed, echoing the prophetic warnings found in Revelation. By weaving biblical themes into their stories, filmmakers tap into a collective anxiety about the future, making the ancient text relevant to modern audiences. Moreover, the cultural impact of Revelation can be seen in the realm of music. Many artists and bands have incorporated apocalyptic imagery and themes into their lyrics, further embedding these ideas into public consciousness. From rock anthems to hip-hop tracks, references to the end times resonate with listeners, often serving as metaphors for personal and societal struggles. This musical exploration provides a unique avenue for individuals to engage with the themes of Revelation, reflecting their own fears and aspirations in a rapidly changing world. The role of the church and believers. The Book of Revelation also poses significant questions about the role of the church and believers, especially in times of tribulation. Throughout history, the church has often viewed Revelation as a source of hope and resilience, emphasizing the importance of faith during challenging times. The text encourages believers to persevere, reminding them that despite the trials they may face, ultimate victory belongs to God. This message has been a source of comfort for many, fostering a sense of community and shared purpose among congregations. In contemporary society, the implications of Revelation for believers are profound. Many view the prophecies contained within the text as a call to action, urging them to remain steadfast in their faith amidst societal upheaval. This perspective emphasizes the importance of spiritual preparedness, encouraging believers to cultivate their relationship with God and deepen their understanding of biblical teachings. Such an approach fosters resilience, equipping individuals to navigate the complexities of modern life while remaining anchored in their faith. Additionally, the role of the Church as a guiding force during times of crisis cannot be overstated. Congregations often serve as support networks, providing emotional and spiritual assistance to individuals facing hardships. By emphasizing the themes of hope and redemption found in Revelation, churches can inspire believers to actively engage with their communities, embodying the principles of love and compassion that are central to Christian teachings. This active engagement helps counteract feelings of despair and isolation, promoting a sense of belonging and purpose. Moreover, the concept of perseverance in faith, as illustrated in Revelation, encourages believers to maintain their values and convictions even in the face of adversity. This idea can be particularly relevant in a world increasingly marked by challenges to moral and ethical standards. By drawing strength from the promises found in Revelation, believers can find the courage to stand firm in their beliefs and advocate for justice and righteousness in their communities. Finally, the implications of the apocalypse for believers extend beyond personal faith. They also inspire a collective vision for a better future. The promise of a new heaven and a new earth depicted in Revelation serves as a powerful motivator for social change. Many believers are compelled to work towards a world that reflects the values of justice, peace, and love as they envision the fulfillment of God's promises. This dynamic interplay between faith and action illustrates how the teachings of Revelation continue to shape the lives of believers today. As we dive deeper into the mysteries of the Book of Revelation, it's essential to remember that these secrets were not just meant to remain hidden. They are there to guide us, challenge us, and ignite our faith. Have you ever wondered how these ancient prophecies apply to our lives today? The imagery of beasts, angels, and the ultimate battle between good and evil isn't just a story from the past. It's a call to action for every believer. Think about this. What would it mean for you to truly understand the signs of the times? How can the teachings in Revelation inspire you to live with purpose and hope in a world filled with uncertainty? So, as we wrap up our exploration today, take a moment to reflect. What is the one secret from Revelation that resonated with you the most? How can it impact your daily life and your faith journey? Remember, the Bible is a living document, and its truths are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep believing. Join us next time as we uncover more hidden treasures in Scripture that will empower your faith.